Hello, Scrappy friends. It's Scrappy Kathy here with a long overdue layout share. This framework that you see is a fairly deep drawer. That's the place I no longer need this drawer in my cube Scrappy storage cubes. So I took the drawer out and put it up on top of a surface, one of the IKEA bookshelves. And in it is where I stack up my layouts as I do them, as the videos go live in that order. And then I do my layout shares after enough have, when I can, let me put it that way. And in this case, it's been a while, and I have been working, getting ready to go out of town. I'm speaking to you on Sunday, getting ready to go out of town on Tuesday. I don't have a video going live on Monday, so I'm going to do this layout share on Monday, and then every day, like while I'm on the road, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I have a video that I've already pre-recorded for Saturday, and then the rest of the month. But for those open days, I'll be posting information about my trip. I'll post like pre-scrapbook pages in the photograph and storytelling stage without benefit of having selected any supplies. Okay, so that's enough talk. Let's go through the layouts. I believe there are quite a few in here that do not have videos, and I will point those out to you. You won't be when I do a page that's someone else's design in a class that I'm taking from them, and I have some in here from Vicki Booten, and in the past I've had quite a few from Paige Evans. If it was their design, I like to let you know that, and I usually don't put it out there as if it was something that I designed, but I did. I do in all cases put my own spin on the class layouts, and so I kind of like sharing them and kind of letting you see what I did, and then when I put the photos on, it really kind of makes them mine. Anyway, let's get this party started. This is a page called Gumbo. It is my challenge number 1 for Counterfeit Kit Club, and the challenge was to scrap about food. And I am a guest designer for Counterfeit Kit Club, and so I have this one, and then I have one more page in here using my kit, and I'm going to kill my kit when I get back home. It'll be like the very end of the month, and I'm gonna do one video where I make all the layouts to kill the rest of the kit. You think that's going to happen? I don't know. We'll try it. I thought it might be fun to try it. Okay, so that was that one. This is a CSI, Color Stories Inspiration. I wanted to see which case. It's case number 454. And I used quite a few of the clues. If you're not familiar with CSI, go to their blog. I think it's csi.blogspot.com. I'm not csichallenge.blogspot.com. And it's just one of the most unique challenges, and I guess you're not supposed to say most unique. It is a unique challenge out in the webosphere, in that everything's framed as a case. There's evidence, there's a crime scene, a color story that's found at the crime scene, and then there are various clues, which are just lists of items that you can include on your layout that come from the inspiration photo. There's always a mood, well, not exactly a mood board, but an inspiration photo that kind of as a starting off point. So this is a sketch that I used, and I don't. It's one that was part of their International Scrapbook Day. It was their challenge number 4. So, and most of those supplies. Let's see, these supplies. The papers are Old Stash, Vicky Boutin, and the rest of it's probably 49 and Market. This and this and this I know are Sandy Toes. That's an old Webster's Pages collection. And all of this is Vicky Boutin. I don't think there's anything there that isn't Vicky Boutin. This is Old Stash all the way around. Some fairly new Bramble Fox goodies there, and this is a Bramble Fox, one of the cut-aparts that they call paper snips. And it's an old photo, and I have left a spot. Well, no, I don't think. Anyway, it's an old photo, and the colors are fairly decent, so I didn't think I could improve it too much by scanning and printing, and it would have cost some money, so I decided to save money by using the original. And everything I've surrounded it with is acid-free, so it shouldn't deteriorate. And I've got this Celebrate Today and this are all from Paper Snips. This and this are Vicky Boutin, kind of one of her earlier collections. I think it's called All the Things. And then these papers, the pink grid paper and the, this is another one of those Vicky Boutin things. I think this was cut off of that. Anyway, these papers are from my Hip Kit Club kit. This kind of wood veneer grid is from Bramble Fox. They're laser cut wood backgrounds, and I don't know this. I got it a long time ago. I don't know if they still sell it, but these are Bramble Fox. I just love this page. I didn't remember that this photo existed, and I know all those people, and I have journaling that it talks about all of them and what they meant to us, and how what's so precious is here where James is whispering something in John's ear. It showed that they, at that age, they did get along, at least for those few minutes. Those two were, at each other, until at some point when James became mature enough, he started liking John better than he liked me. So that was, until then he was a wicked stepdad, but after at some point he became the good guy and I was the bad. Speaking of James, this is him. I think he's 2 days old there. His dad had come by to the hospital to pick me up to take him home, and that was taken in the room. And I like this photo. Yes, I was divorced from his dad, but I always wished him the best, and I wasn't ashamed, and John never expected me to characterize our marriage as not having had any happy moments, but that was certainly one of them. And speaking of happy moments, this is a weird dog, but James got this almost portrait quality photo of her, and I had to print it big and really highlight it. This is a Scrap Squad Sunday scrap lift. I didn't write down who I'm scrap lifting here, but I'm using a combination of an Echo Park pet collection and a photoplay pet collection, and I just kind of mixed things up, and I used a puppy paw stencil that kind of added to the theme there. These are a couple photos I took outside in our front garden, and kind of showing here that the dogwood had actually bloomed. It's been a while. It's been in the ground for 13 years, and I think this may be the first year that it's had anything other than maybe one or two little blooms here and there. This is the Japanese maple that I dug up. I got it as a sapling in the woodlands at a the woodlands has a big kind of a sapling fair every spring, and the people who maintain the woods there have all kinds of native trees that are in sapling form. So I grew this from a sapling at the woodlands, dug it up from the woodlands to give it to Nikki, James's wife, at the time when they came to visit. I gave it to her. She planted it at her house in Jackson. We moved from Jackson to the house we're in now, and she dug up that maple and moved it from Jackson to this house and planted it right there in front of James's window. James was really upset when we took down a couple of horrible weeping willow trees whose roots had begun to get into our plumbing. So we got rid of them, and when we got rid of them, the western exposure of James's office brought a whole lot of sunshine and heat into his office. And he complained for a couple years, and I said, just wait for the Japanese maple, because it has grown very fast. It was maybe a couple feet tall when I planted it, and it's, I don't know, 25 feet now. Okay, here is a page I did for International Scrapbook Day for Bramble Fox. This was one of their sketches, and I used a couple photos, recent photos of Patrice in there. It was a 3-photo page, and I replaced one of the photos with this. All of the papers here are from my Hip Kit Club kit, and so are the ephemera. The perspectives, the acrylic pieces, are all from Bramble Fox. And that stencil, both the stencils, the splat stencil and the grid stencil, are Bramble Fox. Okay, so here's nope, that's a very different page. That has nothing to do with this, so I'm not sure what that's doing in there, but off to the recycle bin. This one is a crazy one. I had one of the Hip Kit Club kits had a lot of these like nested hexagons, and we have a monthly hop called Get in Shape that's led by our good friend Miranda Weber, and she's listed a different shape for us to concentrate on each month. And for the month of April, this was the hexagon was the shape. So I have hexagons everywhere here. I cut the photo in a hexagon shape and used a hexagon frame. Same here and same here. These photos were from John's birthday, when we went to his favorite restaurant to celebrate his birthday. So it was at Papacito's. And I have some Bramble Fox here and here and here and here, and the title, of course, and here, and a hexagon, little Bramble Fox hexagons, and the hearts are Bramble Fox, and of course I have to have the penguin there because that's John's John's animal. Okay, and here's a very bright one. This, I don't know what this page was done for. It was Scrap a Sketch challenge number 1 for National Scrapbook Day, and there's a sketch involved, and it was a grab 5, and I don't have down what the grab 5 included. I think splatters were included, and puffy stickers, and maybe ribbon. That's why that ribbon would be there. And I forget what else. Maybe a star, maybe some hearts. In any case, I love this page. I love those photos of Ava. I wish, and I may try fiddle around with the filters and filter these photos to have so that her shirt looks closer to this purplish pink instead of that which is more of a red. And I can just slap them on top of there, so that should be fine. I love this page. I love this page. I had forgotten about this. This is it's a Pinterest pin of a page by Julie Taylor, who is one of my favorite scrappers in the scrappy universe. And this was done for Off the Board with Pineapple Papers. So I took papers from Hip Kits, and I did the rainbow in those colors, and even got some similar prints to what's here. And then I used fussy cuts and die cuts and some things cut with dies and some stickers and so forth, all kinds of embellishments from many different kits and different seasons for these two cute pictures of Allie, again, which I didn't know existed, and I was out looking for some swimming pool pictures for a different page, and I found those and kind of put them in my folder. I just love the scallops underneath there, and she's got scallops underneath hers, so and a tag sticking out, so I'm happy with that. I love this page. And then here's another one. This one is kind of I found, well, not found isn't the right word. I ran across this photo of me standing next to John Lennon's statue in Liverpool. And I played with the filter and got this kind of rough, old, like rough look. I don't know how to, kind of distressed. And it almost looks more realistic, like there's not a person standing next to a bronze statue. But I, for some reason, decided I wanted to play with this. I found this purple frame, and that purple frame started this whole page off. That purple frame is from Paige Evans. What is the collection? It's I don't know, Adventurous, of course. And so I used papers, and there's foam in between the layers. I have the room key. I have all kinds of embellishments around there. And I just, when I put this together, the distressing around the outside and all of the splats, again, I use that same splat stencil from Bramble Fox. It just made this such a special page. This is, I have scrapped the trip that I was on a long time ago, and I've scrapped, but I don't think I know I haven't scrapped any individual photos and told a story behind things, and I will be adding some journaling kind of right behind that frame. Here's a family fun page that I used. Let's see. It's for Simple Stories Saturday, and I used the Family Fun collection, and I forget what collection this is. Several different collections, and I have stickers and ephemera and foam title thingies and flags. And this is all in celebration of having gotten together with my family. And this is a kind of a long lost nephew. I guess he's actually technically a cousin, but I call him a nephew. He's my cousin, who's more like a brother, his son. And so I've been somehow when Ben and I met when he was about 2 or 3 years old, we instantly bonded, and I held him and wouldn't let him go. Nobody else could hold him. Now he's not 3 anymore, and he's just, several stages, like when he was in high school and in college. They'd come to barbecues and I'd spend some time talking to him. He is just one of the most thoughtful and intelligent people I've ever met. He gives me faith that maybe we're all going to be all right if he's still if he's still got that purity of spirit and soul, which that's a characterization he would probably reject. But anyway, love this guy. This page was an easy peasy page that I picked. It's a background page. It's for I think it's for the Christmas Inn. Yeah, the Christmas Inn hop last month, and I used a background. This is from a Hip Kit Club kit, and I used stickers from several different collections, some of which were holiday and some were not. This was a Christmas Eve dinner. One night I decided to copy the recipe of one of our favorite restaurants that does these a spinach salad with roasted beets and fire roasted corn and avocado and of course the grilled shrimp and spinach. It's just, and a really light citrusy dressing. And I was very proud of my copy of the recipe of the dish, and I took a photo of it. I don't often photograph my food, but this was worth it. It's not traditional holiday fare. All of this is traditional holiday stuff, cookies and stuff like that. It was great. I had to include a carton of eggs, but it's the story on the page is these are festive fixins, even if it's not traditional holiday fare. Here's a weird page. This page I did for the Getting Messy Hop on my Facebook group page, Scrappy Kathy and Friends. And I will tell you that since I did this page and we had that hop, which was in April, I have, for various reasons, none of which should be good enough, I've kind of been absent from my page. I intend to fix that. I have some things I'm working on, but I'm getting ready to take a trip. So it'll be when I get back from the trip, probably around sometime in June. So anyway, for this one, I was scrap lifting myself, and this was my original page. It had some swipes of paint using a credit card, and then I used the credit card with some white paint to make a frame. Had a large photo in it, and some various this is some crud that got on it when I was using it as a for that. And anyway, so I did a little bit different colors, and what I was trying to do was make this. I used paint that has a sheen to it, a shimmer to it, because I wanted this to look like the light coming through the windows. These are 4 different filters of the same photo that James took, in his the room is actually Reese's room, and you can see her lying on the couch there. It's kind of a family room gathering area that Reese tends to occupy. So, and I used some papers from my scrap pile. I'm not recognizing. I'm thinking this one might look like, it looks like from, I know these are branding strips from Vicky Boutin, but this looks like it came from my hip kit. And I have some paper snips, and these leaves are from Bramble Fox. Okay, here's a page I love. Shared moments. I am not sure what this challenge is. It's Scrap Squad Sunday, and it's also CSI case number 453. So I used various clues here, and it's there was the lift that I was doing had strips of paper across, and I just used a whole bunch of Vicky Boutin stuff, and this is Pretty Little Studio, Vicky Boutin, Bramble Fox. All the acrylic stuff is Bramble Fox. This little turtle is somewhere on the internet. I bought a whole bunch of turtles, and this sunflower is a gift from my friend Di. And Di, if you're watching this, I got your note and I'm working on it. I have, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. This next page is I believe this is a mini paper madness, and it is, I used 6x8, these are Paige Evans. I used a 6x8 tablet to get all of these papers that I arranged, and these are pie-shaped wedges, and I arranged them in a kind of an off-centered. I took this half and kind of shifted the halves there, and that was according to the scrap lift, or there's no, I'm not saying it doesn't say. I know this is a sketch, and I didn't write it on the back there. But when I post these, I have to be sure and remember to do that. This is my cousin Jane, and let's see, and okay, Ben, the guy that I had the picture of earlier, his sister is married to that guy, and that's her baby. Okay? So we have, this was the youngest generation in the family, and I was the oldest generation. So I was the oldest person, and he's the youngest person. Okay, now we're on some Vicky Boutin class pages, and I put photos there. This was Katie's birthday get together, and there's the picture of all of us, and this is when they brought out her dessert at Hola. And this is a shopping trip with James and Katie and Ava, and just some pictures of them, and I just love that. The design on these, it's absolutely Vicky's, not mine. Here's another one, and there are no videos on these. Here's another one, and I've put a picture of Reese there and called her Best in Show. And here is a double pager that is using, and all of these are using, let's see, there's that one, and there's that one. And this is James and his girlfriend, and her son, and this is on some bumper cars, and this is Hannah and her son Tristan and her daughter Kyla. And I thought those were the perfect photos for a bright, colorful double page spread like that. Another double pager has a lot of pictures from the get together at my cousin John's. There's John, Jane, and Susan. And they have a brother, Stephen, and another brother, Bill, who weren't able to come. Stephen lives in Louisiana, and Bill lives here in Georgia. There's Ben and Paul, Susan's husband Paul, and I shopping at HEB, fabulous grocery stores in the Houston area, but there was one just down from John's house in San Antonio. This is representative of there was fresh fruit and there were fresh vegetables and a fresh salad being made the entire time. That there was also a lot of seafood being cooked and a lot of meat being grilled, but there were vegans in the house, and so it was and a lot of people going like gluten free and so on and so forth. So there was something for everyone, and of course there was Tony Chachere's all-purpose Cajun seasoning, and my favorite, tomatoes. And this was the family. That's when the dog somebody new had just walked into the house, and the baby was there. I thought it was just a nice little snapshot. So again, kind of a colorful page there. I guess it's meant to go like that because the seam is there. Here's a page. This is mine. I used the Little Ladybug collection from Echo Park, and it is just so stinking sweet. Is it Echo Park or Simple Stories? I forget. Let's see, did I mention it back here? No, it's day 12 of 12 days of spring scrap lifts. So that's where the design came from Scrap Squad. And I've used, I've themed it up. I used a stencil with, and made yellow butterflies. And then there's another stencil that goes on top of that where I made the black, the black marks on the leaves. And then there's a bramble fox. That's a bramble fox layered stencil. And these are bramble fox pieces, that, and these. And that's Katie Bug on her first Valentine's Day. And John and I found this, and I mentioned this in the video, I'm sure, but we found this in the gift shop on the bottom floor of our building that we worked on. We parked in the garage, and we passed that shop as we walked to our offices or walked to the elevators. And so we saw that and we bought it one morning, and that day at noon we drove to a mail center to get it mailed to her in Kentucky. And so as soon as she got it, they took her out for these portraits, for a sitting for those portraits. So that's Katie Bug. It's the original bug, Katie's original bug. Let's put it that way. Here's another. This is where when I went to San Antonio, Susan and Paul drove me back to Georgia, and we went to visit Susan's youngest brother Bill, and his wife Ginger. And we went to lunch with them, and this is a photo these are photos from that lunch. And that page, where did the design come from? It's a CSI case. This is an original design, CSI case 452, and in the video I'll explain the evidence. I explain the evidence to you. Here's the case. That's the photo, and so I used the color scheme from there. And then I had puffy stickers and birds and insects and mushrooms and fun stuff. So that's how I solved the case. And this is another photo. I'll have to put these in order. These photos were taken when we stopped on the drive from San Antonio to Georgia. We stopped to see Patrice, and Susan and Paul. She had to show Susan and Paul her life-size photo of Rick Springfield that's on her door. And so I made a page. I just took one picture and then I filtered it a lot of different ways, and then for some reason just decided to make it tropical. I'm always in the mood for a little tropical scene, so that's what that is. This is a page. It's Scrap Squad Sunday, and it's number 3 of the 12 days of spring scrap lifts. And I will tell you that the original shape in the on the page was, I believe, diamonds. And I decided they were skinny diamonds, you know, vertical diamonds. So I decided I don't have a die that could do that, but I had this die and I never use it. So I thought, well, let me do those shapes and then I'll overlay those and it'll look just like a different shape. It looked just like the diamonds, but a different shape. And you know, that didn't work. So I don't like this page. Well, I mean, I love the page because that's a cute picture of Reese, and I love the little palm tree there and these flowers, and I love all the colors. I love almost everything about it, except this was not a great choice to do. But it is what it is, and it's going in the album, and I love it. And it's, long story short, not so short, huh? This is from the when we went out to Bill and Ginger's place. They have some acreage, and it was just beautiful out there. So this was on their back patio. I took a selfie of us girls, and that's me and Ginger and Susan, my cousin. And this is mostly 49 in Market. I guess it's all 49. No, these are Vicki Boutin stamped. This is a Vicki Boutin stamp. There's a mix of stuff here. That's a stamp. What is this? This is Stamp and Stencil Savvy. Okay. No wonder there's so much stamping. Yes, there's like stamping around on the background itself. There's this, and then I stamped some of these arrows here and just layered bits of scrap, like right there. And then I have, this is a stamped and die cut image, and I have stamped and fussy cut images, stamped and die cut, stamped and die cut, stamped and die cut, stamped and die cut, stamped and die cut. Maybe they're all stamped and die cut. Maybe that was the challenge. I think that must have been the challenge. So I love this page. It's a kind of weird page for me. This one I'm really, really, really proud of. And I will tell you, I did it for my challenge page for the in April. I hosted the challenge at Bramble Fox for the month of April. And the challenge was to scrapbook a celebration. Because and the reason I did that was, if April's going to be my month, I know I'm scrapping celebrations because John's birthday is in April and Katie's birthday is in April, and we always pretty much celebrated the whole month. So I did this page and I submitted it, and it ended up getting published in the Fox Zine. This is the Fox Zine that comes to every customer at Bramble Fox who subscribes to a Foxbox Plus. And the Foxbox Plus also contains a stencil. In this case, it was this pretty leaf stencil, and it had all of those goodies in it. So there's the stencil, the zine, the paper snips, and so forth. So there's Bramble Fox on here. I used this title, this little accent piece, these hearts, and this ampersand, and this arrow and the plus sign. So there's a lot of Bramble Fox on here, and I used, I forget, this is from a single piece of paper that I got at a class in Houston, and it is April and Ivy is the name of the collection. And I had those florals, fussy cut florals, so I decided to use those, and I added this sunflower for John, and of course I have the ladybug for Katie, and just miscellaneous things to pick up different colors and themes there. So this background, I don't know what that is. This is the reverse of that piece of paper, and I have two of these. I must have picked them up from a giveaway table at a retreat years ago. And then this has this, and you can't read the words on there, so I just did a little bit of stenciling and splattering for that. So I'm very proud. I'm published now, folks. I have never submitted a page to a magazine, and I'm thinking about doing that. I'm always afraid that my style is kind of personal, that I may be the only person who likes that style consistently, and the busyness of it and the mixture of colors that seemingly don't match. All those things that when I first started scrapbooking were presented as rules that you had to obey. And of course that may be why I stopped doing it. So this is a photo that had been cut with shaped scissors, and I kind of wanted that to show. I have no idea where this is. I'm pretty sure I'm at a scrapbook store, and I'm looking at I'm at a store somewhere, and I'm looking at something in the store thinking about buying it. But I can, everything here is from Hip Kit Club, including this ephemera, and then I outlined it so that it would kind of look similar to the outline flowers that I used there. What was this for? This was for Scrap Squad Sunday. It was a lift of a Jackie Ashton page, and her page didn't have this white frame around it, but I thought with this blue and white paper that would look good on here, and I love these florals and they match those, so I like this page. I have no idea what the story is behind that photo, but the way I see it seemed like a perfect title because I'm clearly trying to see something. And when I say I was at a scrapbook store, this may predate my age there. I'm thinking that picture predates my my getting into scrapbooking. Okay, this was the original. This was the Jackie Ashton original, and Jackie is awesome. She and Julie, you hear me talk about Julie, and see, she outlined her letters together, so that again is why I did that. That was part, and I included the ampersand on another page, so it couldn't use it here. Anyway, I love it. Thank you, Jackie, for the inspiration. And now I've still got so many left in the drawer here. I apologize. I'll try to speed it up. This is a winter page. It's called Sweater Weather. It's a Simple Story Saturday, and I forget what collection this is, but I originally saved this paper so I could cut out all those ampersands, and instead I used the beautiful wood grain back there. I used a Simple Stories. I used a couple papers from a 6x6 pad. Couldn't tell you the collection, but I used I think this is a Simple Stories stencil, and this is part like one of those packs of page pieces. This is Bramble Fox. This is also ephemera from the page pieces, and same here. And I thought this would, just the colors kind of looked cute. With Ava used to like wearing skirts, but she only would wear them if she had tights or pants, or in this case these little I don't know, terry cloth kind of pajama-ish kind of things. But I thought the colors just kind of looked wintry, including the door there. This was from 2011 when we first moved here. This is a page. I did some practicing on the back of it. It's a Getting Messy page, and Keisha James did the original, and I did use the kind of the packaging technique and various other means to get these splats of these colors and to get layers of different shades of those same colors on the page. And then I added a bunch of tiny stuff and a couple of photos of Reese. It's the same photo filtered twice, but I don't know. I like the ribbon look and the kind of the vertical look. Keisha's page was amazing, and here is Keisha's page, and she had overlapping pictures of her dog, so I kind of scrapped that, and I had the same Love This stamp. So I was lucky to have that. And I knew where it was because I have just recently reorganized. So yay. Paige Evans' page here. This is when James goes to get a haircut from Katie, he always makes his appointment to timed to be the last, her last appointment, and then he takes her out to Starbucks for a little treat on the way home as she leaves. So I took the picture, I filtered it here, and this is the unfiltered version. I printed it both ways. And then I just cut circles out of various papers from the Adventurous collection. This was the original by Kim Jenkins for Paper Issues. And I did this because I wanted all those same colors that are in that filtered photo version of the photo. Okay, here's my Jimmy Buffett page. I have to have a Jimmy Buffett page every now and then. You know how much I love doing John pages, and I'm working on a Chris Christopherson page. I've seen Chris Christopherson in person maybe 7 or 8 times, and I was a huge fan. Had all of his music. And just followed him closely. Lost him and Jimmy Buffett and Jimmy, as you know, I'm a huge fan. So lost them in close succession, too close succession. So I kind of keeping. When I see something on social media, I keep it, and I'm trying to build something that I could use to make a story about that. But this one is the original was by Sharon Oda, and I got it off Pinterest. It was an off the board, and I used Echo Park's Endless Summer collection, and it's amazing. I like my mixed up pages when I kind of mix collections. I do that all the time. But these two are examples of kind of single collection sort of pages. This is all Paige Evans Adventurous. I didn't even go outside Adventurous. It is possible that this hello didn't come from there, but I think it did. And I know this chipboard did, and those vellum leaves. And this is all that single Echo Park collection. And I've used ephemera and some fussy cuts and a lot of stickers. And I love this photo. I found this on the internet. It's a photo of Jimmy that has reflections of palm trees in his glasses, and he's got a parrot on his shoulder. And I filtered it, and I think the original one was maybe... it looked a little less like a painting than this, looked more like a photo. So I filtered it, and it looks a little bit more like a painting. And I honestly do not know who posted it or who did it, who's responsible for it. But whoever you are, I honor you and I thank you, and I appreciate your letting me use it on this page. And this is a Christmas in, and this was, I guess, Christmas in April, Christmas in March. My gosh, we're going back. Okay, so it's been a while. This is a piece of paper from, I want to say, Cocoa Vanilla Studios. And I think this might be from Cocoa Vanilla. But these ornaments are from Pink Fresh, as is the yellow checkered mat on the photo. A picture of Ava and me one Christmas when she was opening. She got a Frozen doll. And then this Holly Jolly we got from a Mina Scrap kit a million years ago. And I stenciled on some pine branches kind of behind to expand that. And I have a baby pink checkered squirrel. This is a page done for a hop that we had to honor Sonia. If you have ever watched her videos on her channel, Drop the Color Sonia, she loves colors, she loves rainbows, she loves flowers. She loved obviously her granddaughter, was so thrilled that she was able to live long enough to meet her granddaughter. Sadly, Sonia left us, left the earth last year, and those of us in groups that she was in wanted to honor her, so we had a hop, and this was my scrap lift of one of her pages, and I made this title myself just for her. All of the materials I have here are from Scrap-A-Sketch printables, and there is a printable set called Scrap the Rainbow or Over the Rainbow, something about rainbows, and I think that's where those came from. Here's a fun page. I can recognize some simple stories and some 49 market. So this is I have no idea what the story is behind this photo, but I love it, and it looks whimsical, and so I did a whimsical page. And when I say whimsical, it means none of the embellishments match. None of these embellishments were ever meant to be used together. None of these colors were ever meant to be used together. So it's clearly it's clearly whimsical. Let's see, whimsical, whimsical. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. This actually, I believe this was a load page. And I have rickrack and ribbon. Is that a load page? No, it's a CSI case 451. It had a list of elements, and there were transportation vehicles, rickrack, ribbon, map, bird, star. I don't think there was a ladybug, but I have one there, and I don't think there was a bee. But anyway, that's what you do when you put lots of disjointed things on your page, and I love it, and I will never stop doing it. This is, and we were just talking cocoa vanilla, this is all cocoa vanilla, except this acetate I think came from I want to say Glitz Design. There, I got a pack of acetates, and I believe there's a clock I used from, that paper I showed you that had all clocks on the back of it. I did a clock there, and I did a wood, hourglass over it. I think this must be, it's Timeless Moments, Miscellaneous Family. It's the Bramble Fox March Challenge, and I forget what the challenge was. Timeless Moments. Okay, and this moment when John made this poster for Katie's birthday, she had her birthday. This was her birthday in 2020 during COVID, and so there was a drive-by. James organized for her friends to drive by and bring posters, and they put them on a stake in the yard while standing, 20 feet away from us. And then they got back in their cars and waved and honked their horns and stuff. So there were a whole bunch of people. The front yard was filled with signs, and this was one John made. And his favorite movie was Up, and he loved the quote, "Adventure is out there." So he wanted that on there, and he picked this photo of him and Katie walking off the field at one of Barrett's games, and they're hand in hand, and just these two had a very, very special relationship, and it was truly a moment in time that I'm so glad I got a picture of. James got a picture of all the people standing with the signs. I'm so glad he got this one, even though it's not a perfect photo. John's head is cut off. It's enough. And I'm sorry, when I do that, you probably can't see very well. It's cut off a little bit, but I just love it. And I was inspired when I saw this is a filtered photo, and this is a very subtly colored shirt, but it fades back and you can't see the print very clearly. But when I filtered it, you can see the print, and the colors came up kind of like the colors in this collection. So that's why I picked the collection. And you just can't, home is where the heart is, and we were all stuck at home. So our hearts were all stuck at home too back in those days. Here's another Bold and Bright page that I did with these two pictures of Ava after Katie had just colored and cut and styled her hair. Just absolutely gorgeous. And I used lots of different Vicki Boutin stuff, frames and tickets and those little circly things and splats and stamps. But what challenge was that for? That was for Scrap Squad Sunday, and I was scrap lifting a page by Wendy Meffin, another of my favorite scrappers. And here's a page. I don't know why I cut the other half of that, the other fourth, I guess, of this pattern paper off. I'm not sure where I used it or what, but this is all I had, and I didn't want to waste it. So I thought I'd do it like this and then have that be the where you bleed off of the grid. This is sort of a grid. It's meant to be a grid that you can't see. This is for the Get in Shape hop, and the shape that we're focusing on is ovals. And when you're scrapbooking and you're using ovals, it just reminds me of the old, remember those oval frames that were on our grandmother's pianos? And my grandmother didn't have a piano. I think it was probably sitting on her record player. But and she had one of those gigantic, ginormous pieces of furniture that contained her record player, like everybody had back in the 50s. And anyway, I just love those oval frames. So I knew that Vicki Boutin had done these. I wasn't sure how many I had. I'm really happy I had two. And I used ephemera from lots of different collections. I know this is from Where to Next. That's probably from Where to Next. That's probably from Color Study. And this is maybe from a newer collection. That's from Paper Repack. So I know that's not Color Study. That I forget what that might be. And then these are from a newer collection. These are from new, and this is Making the World More Colorful, and I just don't have the right kind of support for that, so it's bending, but I'll fix it. Anyway, I love that. That's a picture of James. This picture of James, by the way, I got a babysitter. The first time I got a babysitter for him, other than his dad, a couple of times I had to travel for work, stuff like that, and his dad took care of him. But this was the time when I had him, and I was going out to a concert. I had tickets. I think it was Kenny Loggins was who I was going to see, or maybe the J. Giles Band, one of those. You can tell it was the 70s, right? And I hired a babysitter who had taken care of him when he was an infant, and she was 3 months old here. Well, I guess she was still taking care of him. Anyway, she kept him at night, and she found a place, I forget where it was, might have been Sears or someplace that had, that was doing portrait photography, and you didn't have to pay a sitting fee. And there were some bargain basement kinds of pages of pictures you could get. So she took him to get his portrait done to get them as a gift for me. So this was one of those portraits, and I just love it. You can't see it, but he's holding a little yellow rubber ducky, and it's just so cute. He was a cute kid. He's still a cute kid, and he has horrible story. He's doing an exercise that involved doing a somersault and a handstand with your feet against a wall, and then doing push-ups, upside down push-ups against the wall while you're standing on your hands with your feet on the wall. Well, he's a tall guy, and he happened to do this right under a very, very large, heavy clock. His foot hit the clock fell and hit his right hand and crushed 2 fingers. Oh, exposed bone, just bone fragments everywhere, had to be stitched up after they took the fragments out. It's a mess. And he's a hand specialist is in his future. And I just feel so bad for him because he's continuing to try to do everything, but that's his dominant hand. Let's see. I had to do that to get my screen up and running again. Anyway, this is a page I did for our this was my first counterfeit kit challenge, and it's a it's a photo of me holding Katie and Katie trying to pull John's mustache off. She loved trying to pull his beard and his mustache off, and so she was just fascinated with that. And for some reason, in my counterfeit kit, when I built the kit, I built it with a lot of 49 Market, kind of heavily travel themed. And I thought, well, this isn't exactly a travel photo. Well, why isn't it? It's about all the dreams that we had of where this little girl would go. And by golly, she's gone. She's been to Paris and London and Brussels and Amsterdam and to New York. She's gone for work trips to New York and Chicago, and will soon be going to Paris. So she's a little world traveler, and she's a citizen of the world and a truly wonderful human being. And I'm so happy I did this page. Now, mind you, that's probably the 5th time I've scrapped that photo, but I apologize. And this page is one that I just published yesterday that is about the Joann's store closing. I got a photo of the empty parking lot in front and the store closing sign. I cropped it so you really can't see that much of the parking lot, but I used an envelope and I used a floral paper and a wood grain paper. All these things were part of the clues for that CSI case. And this is a big giant envelope that came with a card that someone bought me at Joann's. So it's an actual Joann's purchase. And the rest of the stuff is just stuff that I might have purchased at Joann's, or stuff that would hold things I purchased at Joann's. So, and I called it the end of an era because it was probably the handiest of the sources for scrappy supplies around here. But and it's on my way to the gym, so on my way back from the gym when I'm coming home to scrap, I could stop and grab some adhesive or something. I'm gonna miss it. But anyway, this is a page that I did for Mini Paper Madness, which was yesterday, Saturday, and it is a scrap lift, sort of. The panel of squares turned on their ends like this is an idea I got from someone, but I'm thinking that the building of a cluster up in this direction and another one over here and all of this, that kind of departed from it as best I can recall. I saw it in passing and I don't have a screen print of it. But what I love the most about this page, aside from this picture that I took when I went out to lunch with these two, is the little, I call them potty people, but, the little hand-holding potty people and the hearts and the title, which I have on top of a glassine bag so that you can read it more easily. These adorable little butterflies in 3 different colors, all of which match the Fernwood collection by Vicki Boutin. I love this page. And it's just perfect. It's like your adventure story is only one step away. These two are already planning adventures, and I included my fake stitching. The challenge for this was to put stitching on your layout, so I had to do that. And this is the page that went live today. This is Scrap Squad Sunday. I used a scrap lift. I scrap lifted, did I mention it back here? It's a Cybercrop page, and I'm losing the plot. If you watch the process video, I tell you in there. And all of this stuff is from Vicki Bruton's Bold and Bright. This is from Bramble Fox. That's from Bramble Fox and 49 and Market. And Bramble Fox, Bramble Fox, Bramble Fox. This is 49 and Market. Just a little scrap that I had that kind of just rounds out that photo. And it bridges between this green and this green. Okay, so that's my stack of pages. I'm going to start over. To be honest, I have those 4 open days, and I'm going to try to fill them with progress reports on kind of to let you know. I'm excited about this trip. I'm scared, but I'm excited. I'm getting my car checked out tomorrow afternoon, so I'll be all confident, and I'll get it filled up with gas and head out Tuesday morning, and heading down to Sarasota. In case I hadn't mentioned that before, I'm heading down to Sarasota, where there is a botanical garden with an exhibit based on George Harrison's gardens. There's some actual there's music and photos and videos and some actual plants. And some beautiful garden layouts. So I can't wait for that. So I'm driving down there, and then when I drive back, instead of coming home, I'm going to meet the rest of the family in Savannah, and we're going to hang out in Savannah and Tybee with, let's see, there's James and Hannah's 2 kids, and Hannah's mom, and me, and Katie and Ava. Barrett is at guard drill. Okay, so that's 8 of us there. And this dog, the little dog. Barrett's dog Birdie is going someplace else or staying here, and he will be back and forth to take care of her. Anyway, so I'll be out with, the trip down to Sarasota is my first kind of sightseeing day trip almost. Without John, and I have probably over prepared, and I've over anxious about all the things that might happen, but the truth is I'm pretty well prepared, and I'm looking forward to it. So I thank you for watching, and I'll see you when I get back, and I will have videos that will go live starting next Saturday, the 24th, for about every few days through to the end of the month. And in between, I may be doing some new stuff. So I thank you for watching. Bye.